Welcome back. What does counseling or providing therapy look like on the ground? Today we sit down with Asma Maryam Ali, therapist and founder of Concentric Care, a practice that provides counseling services for individuals, couples, and families. Asma is a therapist and educator and has experience counseling individuals with depression, anxiety, personality disorders, physical impairments, and other issues since 2012. Let's learn about her experiences and the programming she offers through Concentric Care. Welcome to the show, Asma.
Thank you.
So can you tell me a little bit about your practice? The title, Concentric Care, does it have anything to do with your counseling approach?
Well, Concentric Care is about starting the process of care from within, from oneself. And when we take care of ourselves, then we're empowered to take care of the people around us, so our families, our communities, our nations. And that will empower us to continuously care for others. Whereas now, what often happens with people is that they take care of others first and they exert themselves, burn themselves out taking care of others. And when they do that, end up crumbling from within or becoming very weak or struggling and then impacting others as well. And so when people engage in concentric care, what they do is they strengthen themselves for the long term. So continuously working at oneself, healing oneself, looking for ways to improve oneself. That's what concentric care is, and I emphasize that with clients. So I emphasize building oneself in order to solve one's issues.
And how did you, I mean, that sounds great, and
Yes.
I think it's very different because you know, counseling is, you kind of hear about, you know, I want to counsel on this issue, that issue. It's a very holistic approach. How did you, I know you started this, congratulations. How did you go about, how did this actually start?
This started because when I was doing graduate work in the field of education, I was a teacher and then I did some graduate work. I realized that there was a huge need for counselors who have an understanding of Muslim issues and Muslim perspectives in the field of counseling and psychology, and there are so few of them. So there are people who came to me who had issues that were seeking Muslim counselors, didn't know where to go. And
what are examples of some issues that people were coming to you with?
Marital conflict, abuse, depression, anxiety, severe anxiety, things like that that they needed help with, professional help with, and they wanted someone with an Islamic perspective and didn't know where to go. So because of that, I thought that this is something that I'm particularly interested in, and I decided to make a shift, like a career shift, and got into the field of counseling and psychology.
Now tell me a little bit about what the programming looks like on the ground. So I know you talk about concentric is, you know, taking care of yourself from within, but what does this actually look like? Let's break down, you know, what counseling actually looks like for our viewers.
So counseling in my practice is about the individual who comes to me, even if they're coming with a family issue. What I do is I take time to find out if they're really sincerely interested in healing from within and healing the issue. And once I know that about them, I find out more about the issue. We make a mutual decision as to whether or not we want to do this, engage in this journey of healing together, if they want me to come on as a helper and a collaborator with them. And then we sit down and have a thorough assessment of the issue and come up with what's called a treatment plan, or, you know, the parameters of treatment, the goals of treatment, and then begin the process of counseling and psychotherapy and healing.
And what's your role? Because you mentioned, you know, you get them to agree, and I assume they agree, well, for the most part, but what's your role in sort of helping them along this journey? Because I've heard a lot of people say that, but what does that mean?
That's listening primarily to what the issues are, and we're trained to look for key issues or key problems, key experiences that the person has had that has led them to where they are, whether it's in their history or their current experience. We look at relationships, we look at patterns in mood, habits that they have, addictions, things like that, and personality issues and so on. So listening for all of those things, taking note of them, and then gaining a broad picture of what this person's life is, who they are as a person, what are the contributing factors to the issue. Because oftentimes people think that there is one contributing factor or one presenting problem, whereas when you look at their life as a whole, or you look at the person as a whole, you find that there are different things that are contributing to the issues.
And how long does each treatment, like how long is, so if I were to come to you, you know, with an issue, I have a lot, how long would a treatment plan be?
It depends on the issue itself. So if someone is talking about a relationship issue, it may take a lot shorter, depending on how involved the issue is. If the person is talking about major depression, for example, or schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, which are things that I see people for, then the treatment is a lot longer because that's what's required for healing. So it depends on the issue. And the modality that I use, like the treatment that I use, for example, there are different modalities like cognitive behavior therapy, interpersonal therapy, psychodynamic psychotherapy. It really depends on the presenting issue, and each presenting issue requires a different set of modalities. Yes.
Perfect. So I know that there's a very good explanation of sort of, the individual counseling. I know you also do programming. So there's a program that I've heard about called Inite. Tell us a little bit about that.
Inite is a holistic development or wellness program for individuals who are seeking to build habits in their lives and make major changes in their lives in order to achieve their goals. And so it's 12 weeks long, and we emphasize particular habits that will allow them to create more space in their day, particularly in the morning, and then utilize their day better, as well as have greater health and greater positive thinking and so on to achieve their goals.
And are these people who sign up for Inite, are they individuals who also have come to you for the purpose of counseling, or is this more of a what it sounds like just a holistic program to sort of help reshape your life?
Yes, it's exactly that. And so Inite is, in addition to doing psychotherapy through Concentric Care, Inite is Concentric Care's proactive approach to health and wellness, to mental health and wellness. So it's a way for us to bring to the community a program where they can build these habits and build this lifestyle so that they can avoid some of the mental health problems that might otherwise ensue. And so what people do is they engage in this and make their lives better and healthier and hopefully avoid some of those issues.
So I know this is a second round that you'll be launching. You did one round previously. So what is, give me an example of what one day schedule looks like.
A day's schedule at Inite. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's a 12-week program, and every day consists of contact with a guide and contact with the Inite group. And so when someone wakes up in the morning, it actually depends on the week. So every week of the 12-week program has a separate theme and a separate emphasis. The first couple of weeks are about healthy sleeping habits. The second or third, waking habits. And then we get into things like positive thinking, self-affirmation, meditation, and prayer. And throughout the entire program, there's an emphasis on exercise and healthy eating. So every day is literally different, and every week is different. So if you take, for example, week 1, we emphasize waking in the morning, using the day to build certain habits that are emphasized in that week. And then in the evening of the first week, making sure that one is creating a healthy sleeping environment, going to bed early, not eating too late at night. And the guide monitors these things throughout the 12 weeks. So.
And is it the whole thing is like an in-person, in-group meetings, or is there sort of long-distance type of programming as well?
Both. So Inite is meetings. So people meet physically for what we call morning celebrations, where we have a healthy breakfast, a discussion, and we discuss the week's theme. And then that happens successively with morning training, which is training for a 5K, which we do throughout the program as well, and then we do a 5K in the 9th week. So we have those physical meetings, but people join us online as well, and they participate remotely, and the guide will monitor their progress remotely. So we've had people participating from Toronto, whereas the program was based in Mississauga, and will be again. And we had a participant in Edmonton in the past as well. Yes.
Wow.
And they found that they benefited greatly from the program, particularly because of the daily contact with the guide. And also they receive all of the materials for the program, they receive the recordings of the meetings and so on.
Now I know you mentioned one part of the program is also focusing on a meaningful prayer, and I know we talked a lot about your services catered towards Muslim, not catered, but you do deal with a lot of Muslim clients. So is this, our programs and your counseling practice, is it open and culturally appropriate for people of other faith backgrounds?
Absolutely. So the program is open to people of all faith backgrounds, all ethnicities, all ages. And what we believe is that we have in this program universal principles such as respect, care, a respect for other creation that we bring into the program that everyone can participate in and hold. And we think that everyone can benefit from the program in that sense. And so if someone is coming with a particular religious belief, such as Islamic beliefs, they can also benefit, because when we get to the weeks on positive thinking, on prayer, they can then choose to incorporate their religious beliefs into the program. And that's how Islamic beliefs, for instance, come in. But as well, Christian beliefs could come in, other beliefs could come in, and practices could come in, depending on the participant and what they want to do in their personal time and their life.
Sounds great.
Yes.
And do you find that, going back to the Muslim community, how receptive are they to this kind of a program? Because to be honest, this is the first time I've heard of a professional practice, launching in proactive, proactive approach to mental health and well-being. So are you find that the community is a bit, I don't know if scared is the right word, but are they a bit nervous? Are you finding that people are really interested?
I find that they're very interested.
Okay.
Like anyone that I speak to about this program is so excited about it, because it's the first of its kind, as you mentioned, and also it's a holistic program. It's not based on any particular faith system, and people appreciate that, because a lot of Muslims come to these programs and they have their own particular faith struggles or their own particular issues with religion. So coming to an environment that is not strictly faith-based and a little bit more fluid is inviting to them. And they also find that it's such a proactive approach to wellness, whereas a lot of Muslims have concerns with, because of stigma, coming to psychotherapy and counseling. They're very open to coming to a wellness program. Yeah. So this is fantastic for them, and they love it.
So Asma, I know you mentioned a little bit earlier about, there's still the stigma around counseling and seeking therapy. I know I've had friends who are very hesitant as well about going to see a counselor. How do you deal with that in your practice?
Well, it starts with understanding where they're coming from, and I think that there are several reasons why people are hesitant about counseling. One of the primary reasons is that in particular communities, and not just minority communities, but other communities as well, counseling is stigmatized, and the reason is because people think that once they come to a counselor, or if they've gotten to a point where they need counseling or psychotherapy, something is severely wrong with them. And that seeking that means that they're so weak that they can't handle the issue on their own. So it's almost like a blow to themselves to do that. And then there's the perception of one's family and one's community around that process, right? So what I say to them, and what I say to people who are hesitant, is that actually having all of us go through issues in our lives where we need external help, whether it's elders, whether it's friends, and having a professional perspective is actually very healthy and very helpful, not only when someone's going through difficulty in their lives, but when they're going through good times. Because a counselor is somebody who's an objective voice. They don't know the people in our lives, in our families. They're not aware of, all of the issues, so we can speak freely with them. And there's so much that we can do in a counseling session just by talking to someone, right?
Do you have an example? Because I know you've dealt with a lot of clients of people who have come to you and have, were hesitant, and then they finished and they were like, okay, this was a really good idea.
Yes, there are clients who have come and they weren't sure. They kind of dragged their feet for a long time, and unfortunately what ends up happening is that the issues become bigger and bigger when that happens. And then when they come, one of the first things that they realize is that this is a private, non-judgmental, neutral environment. Word isn't going to get out about what I say. This person is not going to judge or make me feel bad about what I'm going through. And as soon as that happens, it's like, there's a switch that goes on within them where they feel like they can release a lot of what they've been experiencing. And I see that happen all the time, in fact. And when they do, then they want to come back because they realize that this is a safe environment and there's somebody here who has a professional perspective that can help me. So whether it's family conflict or depression or some kind of abuse or trauma from the past, a person feels, I want to come back for that reason. Yeah.
And where can people go to sign up or learn more about Inite or even your practice?
They can go to my website or they can call me. So my website is concentriccare.com, and all of the information about Inite is at concentriccare.com. My contact information is there, more information about myself and my practice and so on.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you so much, Asma, for coming on. This is very engaging and exciting conversation.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Hey YouTube, we hope you benefited from this video. If you liked it, or if you didn't, let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more, check out some of our other videos. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.